And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this segment of Invent America. And we do Invent America because America invents. Our economy is based on all of you guys out there saying, oh, I have an idea, then being able to get that idea out of your head into something three-dimensional so that we can get it in the marketplace for someone else to buy. Today, we are talking about that big challenge, marketing versus selling. There is a difference. And, you know, technology has changed over the last 20 years. It used to be you didn't know that there was something new unless you saw the TV on commercial. The commercial on TV. Sorry, a little excited here today. If you saw the commercial, you knew that there was something, a new pancake mix. There was a new dog toy. There was something out there. But today, most marketing is done on social media. Well, you probably didn't see that coming 15 years ago. So our guest is going to go over this with me is Leland Black. He's been out in the marketplace for a while now with Eco Dripper. But he's got other inventions that he's worked on in the past. And he has got a lot of expertise because he's selling the product. Obviously, he's doing some marketing. So let's go right into Lee. Thank you so much for being with us and filling in for this segment. What is the difference between marketing and selling?
Hey, thanks, Rita. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. You've been really a good inspiration for me to help me out in the market. Marketing and selling. You can market in different places. Like I went and found an influencer, and I thought this is a perfect way to market. And I got out there with them, and they did a few videos online on their website, on TikTok, Amazon, and we didn't get any sales.
Oh,
the clientele they had was not buyers. They were not the clientele I was after. So there's a big difference in marketing and selling because of the experiences.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, my understanding with marketing is it's a story you tell to encourage people to actually, go and look at the product, and selling is when they take their wallet out.
Right. And so I've played a little bit I go to these trade shows, and it's how I market to them and show them that there is something new out there, and it works different than everything that's ever been invented. And as soon as I can show them that, it's amazing that to get the marketing just right or get the right way to talk to them is a big thing to me. And as soon as I figured that out, I started making sales.
So what you're telling us is that you had to learn what the message should be. We always look at bullet points as opposed to paragraphs. Mm-hmm. Even when you're talking to someone, does it make a difference?
Yes. Like if I start out, I have to start out. Did you know your plants can drink on their own? Did you know that the roots have the same section of the vacuum cleaner? I have to start out with that. It's very particular. As soon as I do that, I go with the next step, and I do it in 15, 20 seconds, and I sell the product.
So tell everybody what it is.
Okay. Now, everybody else knows there's watering device out there, the globe or the spikes, and they're a gravity-fed or a drip system into your plant. Well, I grew up with my grandmother, and I grew plants, and I wanted to invent something that would let plants drink on their own. And I learned from the water department in California that plant roots have the same suction as a vacuum cleaner. So working off that suction, I thought, well, let's give it a pond of water to drink out of. So I created a device that creates a small half-inch tall pond of water in there. Then you put a bottle on it to keep the pond full. And when those roots start to suction water out of the soil, they will siphon out of my pond to go up 3/8 of an inch and down into the soil. So water does not come out of there unless the roots decide. That's how basic and simple the device is.
Okay. So I'm going to need me a couple of those simply because I overwatered my aloe plant until it fell out of the tub. And the other plant sitting next to it was underwatered. I watered in the same time. So you're absolutely right. Different plants take different amounts of water.
That's right.
And I don't think most people realize that.
So everybody's like, well, what is this plant going to need? And I'm like, I don't know what the plant needs. I've had somebody tell me this plant is a very dry plant. It don't take hardly any water. I'm like, well, I'm going to let my Eco Dripper decide. Well, my Eco Dripper kept that plant wet, and it has starch everywhere. So I don't think we really understand plants as well as we think we do. We kind of go by what somebody else thought it did. So I've changed. Now you can let the plant decide.
Awesome. I think that is so exciting. The plant actually, maybe not has a thinking mechanism, but it certainly has a need mechanism. So as it needs the water, it will take the water.
Correct. So I actually put a plant in a glass jar to see what it was doing so I can get a visual of what's happening. And I put my eco dripper in and I watched the roots migrate around my eco dripper in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty neat. So I pulled it out, filled it again 2 weeks later. I put it on the other side, and the roots migrated over to the other side. They will go where the water source is.
Have you ever thought about doing, a program at a fourth grade school that, it was the experiment for the fourth graders to actually watch this and see it?
No, not really. But I did have somebody tell me that go to these retirement homes where these old people are trying to find things to do. And I had one lady buy one of my kits. And she's like, now these people can grow plants and they don't have to remember when they watered them or how to water them. It's just a matter of putting your product in there and watching a bottle. That's it.
Yeah,
you made it so simple.
Yeah, I was thinking about fourth graders. Teach them, in the fourth grade that, plants will drink what they need to drink, when they need to drink, how they need to drink. And so that when they grow up and they start watering plants, they can say, let's go get an eco dripper.
Yeah, my youngest buyer from my product is about 4 years old, a young little girl at the trade show. She's come by about twice and bought eco drippers. And the last time I talked to her, I says, how's your plant doing? Well, when Mother was doing it, the thing about died, but now it's just really big. It's really fun to see.
That's wonderful. So, all right. So you've had to change your marketing to be a different message.
Correct. Yeah, because I get people coming past my booth and I'm like, hey, can I show you this? Oh, I don't have plants, or I've already seen that. And I'm like, please just give me a minute. I want to show you. And as soon as I do that, telling them about how it works, whatever, they buy about 2 eco drippers and walk away every time.
Right. So you've said the magic word. You went to ASD Market Week with us last year, and you've mentioned trade shows now a couple of times. How is a professional trade show a marketing tool? I'm out there looking for distributors, stores, stuff like that. Other countries. If somebody wants to buy my product and sell in another country, that's what I'm after. And that's what ASD did for me, was help me find those kind of contacts so I can start going worldwide, start growing. One of the things that we look at is, the packaging that you put your product in. And if you can't get someone to pick it up, they're never going to buy it. Well, if they're buying online, you could put it in a Ziploc bag. It doesn't really matter. They've already paid for it. But kind of explain to our listeners that difference in packaging.
Well, I started out with a little package. I dropped it in with a little paper on top and I stapled it. That was very a blah looking design. I didn't like it. And one of my friends says, dude, just put the sticker on it. They want to look at that product. They're going to pull it out of the bag to see where that water's going in and where it's coming out. So you got to do it that way. So I did that. And then when we built our starter kit, the only boxes we could find were cardboard, brown, and they were ugly. My backdrop is black. Everything I have is black. And so after a while, we did find a black box, and wow, it was like night and day difference. People love that look. They'd grab it and look at it compared to brown, like, oh no, it's just something else stuffed in a box. So yes, packaging was a big thing.
I can understand that. Well, what I have heard multiple times is the call to action.
Yeah, as soon as I get done explaining it and I can see them thinking and they're trying to decide if they want this. What the good thing about this is I have them in IFA here, Intermountain Farmers in Utah, all over the place, in a bunch of Ace Hardwares, nurseries and stuff like that. So as soon as I can see that they ain't going to buy from me right there, I'll say, you know what, I got them here, here, and here, and you can go get them anytime. Oh, that's great. I didn't want to haul with me anyway. So I get them to go there. And so I have a backup from what I'm selling there at the booth. So it's been a really good way to push them to buy. What
colors are your boxes?
Black. My boxes are black. I mean, my background's black. It was funny. We tried out with white, and one of the girls were like, oh, we got to do white. Why do you do black? Because it's your last name. And I laughed. And like, no, just because my last name ain't black is why I want everything black. It looks good. It draws your color out. So we did white. And we all rejected it. It's like, oh, that is not us. So we went back to black, and having a black box, put your image out. It makes it project what you have, and it made a huge difference. So
it does. It does. So we are coming up on our break so that we could go and pay some bills. Thank you, Lee, so much for being with us. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about in these next two sections, so stick with us, is really that call to action. So for an inventor, when you are out there on social media trying to tell your story, what is it that you want someone to do? Go to the website, send you, an opinion. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And our industry expert is going to share some of those things that you can do. So all of America out there, when you hear something that is really cool, like Eco Dripper or the Blue Viper trenching shovel, and you want to go buy it, your call to action is get out there and get on the website and find it. So stick with us, because we are going to have a couple more guests on to talk about Invent America and the call to action. Thanks, everybody, for being with us in this segment of Invent America, where we're talking about what makes you pick up a package, what makes you go online to buy a new product, the difference between marketing, selling, and what is that call to action. So my next guest is Mr. Ron Matson, the inventor of the Blue Viper trenching shovel, which is sold in countries all over the world. And I know there's a company in Taiwan that wants to represent it at the next international trade show. So Ron, thank you so much for being with us.
You're very welcome, Rita.
So tell our listeners, what is the Blue Viper trenching shovel?
The Blue Viper trenching shovel is for cleaner way to dig for a wire or a conduit. And I got to say, I have one in my own garage, and it works real well. I've sold over 2,000 of them so far, but still looking for a better distributor and cheaper manufacturing, but it does work. It has a narrow design. It's kind of like a miniature backhoe where it digs cleaner, and it cuts a narrow path for, like I said, a conduit or a wire. You can adjust the depth for 4 or 8, 12, or 16 inches deep. And I've had a lot of compliments on it, and it works real well. It's kind of a bright blue color, so it's easy to see on the shelf. Ace Hardware has sold a couple of them, and so far. And I'm looking at possibly in that excellent manufacturer in Taiwan.
Yes. So how did you come up with that name? I mean, we always look at, all right, the marketing and what is the message that you get out there to someone, but a name is a big deal. How did you come up with Blue Viper?
Well, I was thinking of the teeth of a snake, because the point of this shovel is kind of looks like 2 teeth, like a snake. So I thought bright blue, Blue Viper, and there we go, Blue Viper trenching shovel.
There you go. Mm-hmm. All right. So what is your outreach? How do you get people to know you're there?
It's on the website, mainly at Lehman's Hardware right now. Or you can Google it, Blue Viper trenching shovel, it'll come up. And
so
then
one of the things we look at is that if they don't know the name is Blue Viper, what are they going to Google to find you?
Trenching shovel.
A trenching shovel.
If they need a shovel, a trenching shovel, yeah.
Because that is a very unique shovel.
It is.
And I know when I just did a random Google of Blue Viper trenching shovel, it took me right to Lehman's.
Right. Yeah. And then there's a couple of videos as well there.
So what are you looking at as far as, when Mike tells me we need a call to action, I understand that. As far as, the things that we're doing, but for a product, how do you communicate with potential buyers? What is the first thing? I mean, Lee had to learn what the first thing to say was to get their attention. What is the first thing that you say in your videos or on your website to get someone to take a second notice, a second longer to look at the possibility of buying?
Well, like a homeowner, when they're putting in, like, say, a lawn sprinkling system, it makes a mess of the yard. This does not make nearly the mess. It digs a clean cut, and I'll tell the customer that it digs clean, and you just put the wires, say, down, or the pipe, and you can cover it up just like brickwork, because it cuts clean rectangular pieces of sod per se, and you can just put them back like a puzzle without having the mess that you normally come up against.
So you can dig the trench and then put the dirt and the sod back.
Yes.
That's a lot better than using a shovel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a spade. I ruined part of my yard because of when I was digging up for a wire, an 8-inch spade, and I thought there's got to be a better way. And this was the way. I designed it, and it's right now it's USA made in Pine City, Minnesota. Powder coated. It worked for me, and I thought this needs to be out there. So I searched the market, and nothing was out there like it. It has a lot of potential.
It does, and a good licensee can make it in, a variety of sizes if necessary, and be able to get it out there for you. The message that you're giving when we're looking at marketing versus selling, marketing is a story that it tells. So, in 15 seconds, if somebody is standing in front of you at a trade show, what do you tell them?
You need this shovel because it does a good job, and you'll not see anything on the market like it. It has 3-inch sidewalls to it, and that's what carves the sides of the trench clean instead of ragged. So you get the job done in a cleaner way. I have to tell them. I have to stress the cleanliness of the digging. Again, it's like a miniature backhoe. It carves the sides of the trench.
When did you start this? When did you start this project?
About 4 years ago.
Okay. So you were getting, your inventory done, your patent filed, and looking then at being able to find someone to carry it. How did you get Layman's to carry it?
I called them, and they were interested in it. I sent them a shovel, and they immediately wanted it, and so they've sold a couple thousand of them.
So
and Ace's Hardware has sold a couple of them too. I just started with Ace Hardware.
So how'd you get into the Ace Hardwares?
I went there, and they said, "Yeah, it looks like a nice shovel. We'll try it." So they're selling them.
Well, and I think for our listeners, that they don't realize that those Ace Hardware stores are independently owned. So they are more likely to take an Inventors product in than some of the other, chain stores that are corporate owned.
That's correct. You're exactly right, Rita.
I mean, there is no doubt about it, Ron. It's hard to get people to acknowledge that you've got a product out there.
Yeah, there is a lot of competition out there, but again, this is a very unique shovel, and it's badly needed.
I agree.
I wish more homeowners would take a look at that website.
Yeah, people don't know to go and look. They don't always know that something is out there. So I want to thank you, Ron, so much for being on. I know that a lot of people have contacted me looking for the shovel, and I have sent them to you. So as long as you are on our website, believe me, if someone wants the shovel, we're going to send them to you and to Layman's. So thanks so much for being on with us.
Okay.
And I will be right back with Lee Black talking again about
Thank
marketing.
you, Rita.
Thanks, Ron. Talk to you later. We're going to go pay some bills, everybody.
Okay.
Stick with us. Thanks Thanks, everybody, for being with us on this segment of Invent America. We are talking about how do we get that message out to you guys so that you go after the products. And my guest right now is Leland Black, the inventor of Eco Dripper, where your plants get to drink as they want to instead of the way you think they should. So, Lee, you've been to lots of trade shows. How do you've seen other folks at shows and you think, okay, well, that doesn't look real good. So how do you know, or how have you adjusted the message that you put out at a show? Besides changing the box from white to black and back to black.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of it's how I set up at the show too. How do I attract their attention? Do I put my product out front? Do I try to drag them into my show, into my booth? That made a big difference. I found having my table right out front so people just walking by can grab it, look at it for a second. Then I can grab them and show them. Just a display there. But as far as catching people, I'm a one to stand out there and say, "Hey, have you ever heard of Eco Dripper?" And no, can I show you? Sure. Show me how it works. And then I just start in on my demonstration on how roots absorb the water out of the soil through suction, and then that suction is the same with the vacuum. Then I'll ask them, "Did you know that?" And they're like, "No." I says, "Yeah, I can't suck water out of soil, but plant sure can." And so we have fun with that. And then, we go right in and say, "Hey, look how I did this to make it work." And every time they're just like, "That's incredible. So can I use it on this or use it on that?" Yes, you can hang it on your house, hang pots outside. You can put them in your pots outside. You can stab it by a small plant outside. You could use it inside. It's where the roots are pulling, so it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, the water goes faster outside. The sun's shining on it, but that's it. So it's been really fun to catch their attention by how I present it right at first.
Excellent. I know we go to a lot of trade shows, and I've had, so many people say, "Well, do you have do you have chairs for everybody?" And it's like, no, if you want to sit down, go out to the, cafeteria, because we're there to work. And if you're not reaching out and talking to people, doing exactly what you did at ASD, where you were standing right there and you were talking to people and engaging folks, you're never going to sell anything.
I think also having the right flyer to catch that attention. And I handed out over 200-300 flyers at that show, ASD. It was great. Knowing my products getting out there in their hands. And if they don't see it, somebody else is going to.
Yes, absolutely. The sell sheets that we use, flyers, however you refer to them. We look at, good high resolution photos, bullet points, not paragraphs. And whether it's your box or your sell sheet or your website, it's not about how many words that you put in there. It is about the impact of the words you choose.
I found that out, and be able to explain how my device works is the biggest selling point that I have. Also, I had a real fun one. I went to a booth and I brought some sunglasses. I said, "Let's see if these sunglasses will attract people to my booth." It worked so very good. They'd come over and see them, and then I'd tell them about Eco Dripper, and they'd buy. And they're like, "You just need to have some shiny thing in there to attract people to your booth."
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So what social media do you use, Lee?
I am mainly right now on Amazon. We found a company that is one of the biggest that helps you get on Amazon. It's called Eva. And they cost a little bit up front. You won't make anything for the first 3 months. But after 3 months, they told us you should have sales up to $30,000 a month. And they use AI. And I've been very, very impressed with these people. My sales every week have been doubling ever since we started using them. It is incredible what these people can do.
Amazing. Amazing. That's wonderful. So then do you, you've got a website, you said?
Correct. Yep. We do get few sales on the website, stuff off your radio station, different people around the nation that see it, or friends talking. So we get sales there, but most of our sales right now are coming from Amazon.
And then are you warehousing at Amazon, or are you using a different fulfillment group?
We are warehousing it. We send them all to Amazon, let them ship from there.
Excellent. All right. And so I'm gathering that is working well for you then.
Oh, it is. We also learned that we can not sell them single. We want to sell them in a 3-pack, a 2-pack, and then the kit. And so they have a starter kit to start everything. And then most people buy more than one because they get a better deal anyway. So we went to the 2-pack and 3-pack.
All right. So our call to action today All right. For you inventors out there who are figuring, okay, I've got this idea and these are my next steps, it is to get in touch so that you can figure out what is the best way to do it. Marketing dollars are precious at this point. Most of my inventors at the point where it's like, okay, now it's time to start marketing are broke. By the time you get done doing the patenting and the engineering and the manufacturing, there's precious few dollars left. And marketing, believe it or not, can cost as much on its own as all of the other things combined together. So if you are at the point now where you need to start marketing, there are things that you can do that are very dollar efficient as opposed to dollar wasteful. Lee, how did you start? If you've got to tell an inventor, give them some advice. How did you start?
Well, I went to the most cheapest way that I could do to think of getting my product out there, build my own flyers. I ended up having to find an investor because some of these are like, hey, we want 10,000 right now. We want 5,000 right now. You got to do this. And there's just no other way that I had to go find an investor. And I happened to find one of my cousins that has a countertop company. And he says, if you can help me grow plants, I can have plants in my office. I'll invest in you. So I gave him some eco drippers. And 2 weeks later, he called and says, okay, here I am. We're going to do it. I can keep plants alive. So I had to go find an investor. But yes, if you've got another way, I'd like to hear it because right now the only way I could get going was finding an investor. So
what then was your first marketing?
My first marketing was Ace Hardware. I went over to Ace just like everybody else and asked them, hey, would you like to sell this? Absolutely. We'd love the product. So we put it in there and he started selling. No problem. It was really neat. The sales started going. So I'm like, okay, the next way is let's go to IFA, these big companies that sell to Ace Hardware, that sell their planting products and stuff. So I ended up going up there, having a meeting with the owner, and he says, oh, if you can stop tomato plants from getting root rot, I'll take it. I'm like, solved. So I showed him, and he's like, we're in. So I got it in 28 stores right off the bat with him doing that.
Excellent.
And so it just getting in there the next. And then the next thing is like, okay, where do we go from here? Well, let's start online. So I hired somebody to do Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and that just didn't really kick. We was dumping a lot of money into it, but nothing was really coming out, going to our website. And I went to your trade show and ASD week, and I met Eva. That's where I found Eva. And it has just been the best thing we've ever found. So
I
yes,
am so
it
glad.
works.
We always say your most valuable dollars for marketing at that point, when they are very precious and for some folks, very few. Going to a professional trade show is your best step for marketing. At that point, because you get to see people face to face. You can show them your product. You can see whether they're excited. You can see, sometimes they make suggestions when you're in the very early stages and you say, oh, okay, that's kind of a cool idea. And you can go and redesign it when you're early on. But that personal reaction, and the other thing about the professional trade shows is you're talking to the store owners, not necessarily the individual consumer. So now you're selling a case instead of one.
Right. So I have a friend named Tom. He's an old inventor. He has over 100 patents. And he told me, he says, your trade shows are going to get you more money and make you money better than anything out. They said, out of all my inventions, I'm going to tell you, trade shows are it.
Excellent. Well, and we were delighted to have you there with us. I remember when you called me and said, I want to go. So we were very grateful to have you along. You're a wonderful delight. So when you're talking to an inventor now, what is your advice to our inventors?
Don't give up, first of all, because everybody's going to tell you, yeah, right, I'd love to see you make that work and make money. So I think that spawned me to keep going. And then go out there and give it your all. Don't give up. I mean, you're going to have different versions of it till the time you find the right version, until it looks right, it works right. And don't be afraid to get out a little early and have people tell you what your product needs to do. And as soon as you get out there, go to those little stores like Aces and whatever, get started somewhere. And that's where you have to get going.
Excellent. And you're absolutely right. Being able to get out there and talk to people, I think people start out going to, one of the marketplaces in their neighborhood, just to start getting feedback, start getting some interest. You learn a lot from folks when they get their eyes on the product and you can show them how it works. Even if you're just going and you pay for a table, you pay for the space, if you're going with prototypes, because now that feedback from the consumer. So our call to action to all you consumers out there, go and find your favorite product that Ace Hardware, online, any place where you can go and be supportive of America Invents, because our economy is dependent on the inventor and the consumer. It's a partnership, everybody. So we need to know that you are out there and enjoying these different products. So another call to action, all you guys, let us know how you enjoy Invent America, the radio show, and hearing about these cool inventors, what they've done, and the new products. Stick with us. We've got our industry expert coming up, and he is going to give me some more information on that call to action, because that's where I learned it from. Hang in there, everybody. We'll be right back. Thanks, everyone, for sticking with us on this Saturday afternoon when we're talking about marketing versus selling. For inventors' new products, it can be a real challenge to get it out there. You know, you've got an idea, you make it. Now, oh, yeah, you got to tell everybody it's there so they know to go get it. And one of the things that I have learned from my marketing guru, is that idea of the call to action. So Michael Green has been doing my marketing for me now for what, Mike? A couple years? 3 years?
It's about 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years. And, the funny thing is that, when we were first getting started and learning how to do things, and then we went to the National Hardware Show. And everybody kept saying, we Google National Hardware Show and Inventor Lady is the only thing that comes up. And I'm thinking, yay, Mike. So anyway, tell everybody a little bit about, what you do. And then why is it unique to inventors to be able to go out there and market and get the word out? How do they do that?
First of all, it's been a pleasure working with you, Rita, for the last 3 years. And as some of your previous guests have mentioned, other trade shows. I think that was our first venture of the National Hardware Show like 3 years ago, and it really comes down to putting an individual persona out there. So. Yes, you have been known as the Inventor Lady for years and years, but you didn't really have a look and a feel to your brand and your marketing. And so that first year that we worked together, I think that's really what we focused on, was having really just kind of that brand that differentiated you from everybody else. And that's kind of that first step that, as inventors are looking at what their product is really they're creating a brand. We've heard from, a couple of your inventors, and the inventors can invent, different products from different industries, and really identifying how are they going to differentiate themselves from you're looking to partner with people. That may be your call to action. Your call to action may be, hey, go to Amazon and find the Eco Dripper on Amazon and buy it. That may be your call to action. Your call to action may be, like or follow or subscribe, so that as my invention progresses, I can then reach out to you and let you know and keep you engaged and those type of things. So I really just help brands do that. As we've worked together, I think we've done a really good job of that, of making you stand out even above and beyond the trade show itself that was putting, the event on. Like you said, that first year at the hardware show, people would Google the National Hardware Show and the Inventor Lady would show up. Instead of their search results. So that's been encouraging to see and be able to work with you as a brand, and the Invent America that has grown out of that. So.
Well, and it's been a pleasure. We couldn't have done it without you. And I think that for a lot of inventors, understanding how important that message is. And then you're right. I mean, one of the things I've learned to do is when I go out and I look at something, I look at what are the comments. When you say, comment, share your stories, share with us what you thought of this product, because I certainly go and look now. Whereas before it's like, oh, didn't really pay that much attention, because now I'm saying, follow me. And now I'm saying, go and look at this product. And so we're learning then that asking people to do things. And I've told inventors, it's like, ask for feedback. People are much more likely to get onto your website if you said, I need your opinion. I need your questions. I need you to tell me what you think. Do you have any other ideas? It's just like when we're at a trade show and, we get inventors. It's like, oh my goodness, people were saying, what about this? And what about that? And they go back and possibly even redesign their prototype before they go to market.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that the Amazon culture has really taught us all is that products, restaurants, every brand out there lives and dies by either comments or their review status, and so that is a piece of the whole marketing aspect of when you are asking for people for feedback, are you taking care of them to the point where they're leaving you good reviews and good feedback, and the comments are positive and encouraging, and are you responding? You can have a negative review and a negative interaction or a negative comment on your social or your interactions, but how are you responding? If there is no response, people are left with nothing but the negative review. So are you engaging with the customer, even though they've had a bad experience, thanking them for the feedback, striving to do better, those type of things?
So in just the minute that we've got left, give some a early stage inventor. What is the first thing that they do as far as marketing?
Well, it comes along, when they're looking at their patent even and their product, and is their product going to stand out in the marketplace, and looking at, okay, what is my competition? How am I going to differentiate from my competition in the product that I am inventing and developing? That's first. And then, having an intentional plan of, okay, I'm trying to reach a certain audience, and look at your competition. How are they reaching the audience, and those type of things? It really comes down to messaging. You mentioned stories, and there what you're doing, especially as an early inventor. I think your origin story is always important.
Yeah, I agree with you that, when people are looking then at, what problem do you solve? I would say, you've got 15 seconds. What problem did you solve? How did you solve it? And then you get them to be ready to ask you additional questions. Okay, how much is it? Where can I get it? Those kinds of things. Most people understand the problem. Do they understand the solution? The most expensive marketing is when you solved a problem the consumer didn't know they had, because now you got to teach them about the problem first. So it is, always a challenge at this point in an inventor's life to be able to get the story out there, to be able to get the marketing, get their attention. Mike, I want to thank you so much for being on with us today. Everyone, thank you for being with us for this segment of Invent America. And we will be on next week with a brand new section and a brand new topic and brand new inventors and industry expert. So tune in again next week. And in the meantime, go out there and support your local inventor by checking into the Ace Hardware and saying, hey, what did the local inventors bring into you? That is your call to action, everyone. Thank you so much.